So the first time I started learning French was, for me personally, what is working and has worked in the past is...
Hi guys! Today Taylor and I wanted to talk to you about why we think the French you learn at school is not enough, and we wanted to give you a recommendation to help you speak and understand French. If you've been following us, you know that Taylor is learning French with me. But what you might not know is that Taylor also learned French in high school. Since a lot of you guys might be in the same situation as her, we wanted to share with you Taylor's experience about learning French in high school and her advice on how to learn French outside of school. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure to subscribe and keep on watching. Hi Taylor, bonjour, tu vas bien?
Très bien, merci. Et toi?
Très bien, merci. Could you please tell us when you first started to learn French?
So the first time I started learning French was in high school when I lived in Kamloops here in BC, and I took it from grade 8 to grade 12. In our high school, taking a second language was mandatory. We either had to take French or Spanish. And like many other people, I presume, had a dream of visiting Paris one day, so I thought, I'd better take French.
So from your personal experience, do you think the French you've learned at school helped you speak French?
I think my French classes taught me how to read and write French really well, because there's only one correct way of writing something down in French, but not so much with the conversation part. Mostly because I felt my teachers, I had two different French teachers who were also math teachers and gym teachers at the same time. I based my pronunciation off of what they were saying, and since they weren't native, it wasn't completely correct, and for however many years, that is what I based my pronunciation off of.
What do you think was missing in your French classes?
So one of the biggest things I personally felt I was missing in my French class was a native French speaker, because we would do sessions of écouter et répéter, and we would listen to how our teacher was saying it and then base our pronunciation solely off of that. So if it wasn't completely correct, that's how we learned to say it. So for example, I remember one day me and Lily were walking outside and it was very hot out. I was like, oh, il fait chaud. And Lily was like, what? And I said, oh, it's hot, il fait chaud. And I didn't realize that my pronunciation is incorrect. Another thing I thought was missing from our French class was more interacting with others while speaking French. So we would sit down at our desk and write out and figure out how to do the proper grammar and the proper spelling, but we never really had lots of interaction and being able to have a conversation back and forth with the other students in the class, which I think is really beneficial, because if you make mistakes or the teacher hears you and she says that's not correct, then you can go, oh my god, okay, and then you kind of learn from making mistakes. But if you're just sitting there writing it over and over again, you don't really have the opportunity to hear if you're making mistakes when you're trying to speak verbal French. Okay, the last thing I think my French class was missing, which makes me a little bit annoyed, is because they had an exact syllabus that they had to stick to, the teachers would get rather annoyed if you started to use other vocabulary that they didn't personally teach you on an exam. So for an example, we had this one assignment where we had to greet our classmates, and I said, Bonjour à tous. And my teacher was like, no, you can't say that. You have to say bonjour tout le monde. And I was like, why? It's still greeting a group of people. I don't see what the big deal is. But he's like, nope, in the syllabus, you have to learn this, and this is what you're being graded on, so I don't want you to hear the other stuff. And I was like, okay, this is not the best way to learn French, in my opinion.
And Taylor, if you could go back in time, would you still take those French classes in high school?
If I could go back in time and take a French class, I definitely would do it, because although there were some things that bothered me about the French class and how it was set up, my reading and writing, I think, improved so much, especially if I just pick up a cereal box or a shampoo or something like that. I think I am pretty good at getting the gist of what it says in French. But yeah, the speaking and listening thing, not so much, but I would definitely do it again.
Okay, that makes sense. So what would you recommend to other French students like you?
So for me personally, what is working and has worked in the past is definitely, as you may know, Duolingo. I think that really helps me with my vocabulary. And I also, of course, Netflix, put on the subtitles, and when I listen to French movies or even some of my favorite shows, I put that in French dub and listen to it with the French subtitles, and I think that helps me get a better sense of how the kind of flow when French people talk. Also, Lily was so nice and has bought me some French books, French novels, and I try to read through them, and any kind of vocabulary I don't understand I can go look up and slowly make my way through the book. And of course, making YouTube videos with Lily definitely helps my French. Another thing that I've been very lucky that helps me learn French is having native French friends, because we can just be out doing sports or something and I'm like, oh, what's this? What's the name for this? Or how do you say this? And they can tell me right away, and I feel like that's definitely helpful. Way quicker than watching movies.
Well, thank you, Taylor, for sharing your experience with us today. It was really instructive, and I do agree with you that if you have the opportunity to practice your French with a native speaker, it will definitely help you improve your French a lot faster. That being said, Taylor and I would like to make a new video in which we would invite French students to participate. So if you'd like to join us on one of our videos, please leave a comment below so that we could get in touch with you. Thanks for watching. Please give us a like and subscribe to that channel if you liked the video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye!